Is there anything in particular that you can remember that was like kind of like the final straw for you?
Yeah, when Jay did a project with R. Kelly, knowing that he had Aaliyah, and I was told by Aaliyah, do not shake, ruffle no feathers, because it's going to bring more awareness to it, and she wanted to move on, so she said, yo, you could be around, but I wouldn't be around the projects, but that record they did together, you could be in the video, actually be in the video.
Is there anything in particular that you can remember that was like kind of like the final straw for you? Yeah, when Jay did a project with R. Kelly, knowing that he had Thea and I was told by Aaliyah, do not shake, ruffle no feathers, cause it's going to bring more awareness to it, and she wanted to move on, so she said, yo, you could be around, but I wouldn't be around the projects, but that record they did together, you could be in the video, actually be in the video, allegedly. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hay Williams to put AO on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up. Beyoncé claiming that Aaliyah was hesitant to get on the plane the day of the plane crash. The source says that Aaliyah was given a sleeping pill and carried onto the plane unconscious before the fatal crash happened. In the music Bahamas, among the MERS joining Aaliyah's grief-stricken parents, her Aunt Gladys Knight, Aaliyah's boyfriend Damon Dash, fellow hip-hop honcho Sean Puppy Combs, R&B singers Usher, Maya and Monica, hip-hop artist Jay-Z, Buster Reed. Dame Dash has reportedly sat down with the feds to get them to look into Aaliyah's relationship with Jay-Z and those long-standing rumors that Jay was somehow involved in Aaliyah's tragic death. According to insiders, Dash revealed that Aaliyah had expressed deep concerns about Jay-Z's behavior and intentions in the weeks leading up to her untimely passing. Aaliyah allegedly confided in Dash that she felt uncomfortable around Jay because he kept putting pressure on her after she already rejected his advances. And then there's the whole R. Kelly connection, seeing how Jay-Z continued working with R. Kelly even after he found out what R. Kelly did to Aaliyah was the final straw. Fed Dame and he cut ties with Jay for good, but the rabbit hole goes even deeper, and there are allegations of a massive industry cover-up, with sources claiming that Jay-Z paid off witnesses and had them sign DAWs to keep quiet about what really happened to Aaliyah. And some people are also calling out Dame and saying he's trying to make himself look innocent in all this when he too failed to protect Aaliyah, and he appeared in a music video with R. Kelly 3 years after she passed. Honestly, it's starting to look like all these men were sniffing around Aaliyah and none of them cared enough about her well-being, including muting her own family. There's a lot to unpack here, guys, so let's just get into it. So supposed best friend partner does a project with someone that he knows your partner's girl when she was a child, and you still say that had nothing to do with me, I'm going still get money with him. You know that one made that was a pretty a wake-up call for real. It's hard to believe that it's been over 20 years since Aaliyah's tragic death. It's really heartbreaking to imagine how much of an icon she would have been if she were still here today. Her talent was incredible, and if she were still around, she'd probably be your favorite artist. On August 25, 2001, Aaliyah lost her life in a plane crash at just 22 years old while traveling in the Bahamas. The official story says the plane was overloaded, which caused the crash, but many fans have doubts about that explanation because there are so many inconsistencies, and recently new evidence has come out that suggests her death might not have been the accident it was reported to be. To give you some background, just 3 days before her death, Aaliyah flew to Miami to film her music video for Rock the Boat, directed by Hype Williams. Everything was going smoothly until Hype decided to move the shoot to the Bahamas and insisted they leave right away. Aaliyah was nervous about flying since she usually traveled with her mom or brother, but Hype convinced her it was urgent. On August 23, Aaliyah and some Virgin Records staff boarded a sketchy looking plane, and according to Dame Dash, Aaliyah felt uneasy as soon as she saw it. When she actually saw the plane, she with the blackberries, and she said, I don't like this plane, and I was like, well, don't get on it, and she was like, well, I got to because I got work to do. She got on the plane, and she always had a very serious fear of planes in general, so she had to overcome a fear to get on that plane. But here's what things get even more disturbing. Dame also revealed that Lenny Kravitz, who has family in the Bahamas, actually offered Aaliyah his private jet, but Hype Williams came in and took it from her. But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and that Hype had took the jet, so that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So you could ask Hype about that. That's have you ever talked to Hype about it? Yeah, and how did that conversation go? Ask him, but I also am asking you, yeah, but ask him now. Fast forward to August 25 when Aaliyah was supposed to fly back to Miami from the Abigo Island, but the plane they arranged for her was even smaller than the one she had arrived on. Aaliyah immediately got a bad feeling after seeing the plane and decided she did not want to get on. Witnesses say that she went back to the cab and told her team that she had a headache and wanted to stay in the Bahamas for another day, but someone from her team gave her a pill, and shortly After that she passed out and eyewitnesses reported that she was carried onto the plane while unconscious. According to journalist Kathy Londy's biography of Aaliyah, a taxi driver named Kingsley Russell mentioned that Aaliyah's team took her out of the van and she didn't even know she was being boarded on a plane, and tragically Aaliyah's worst fears came true in the most devastating way. The small Cessna plane crashed just moments after takeoff, barely 200 feet from the runway. 7 of the 8 passengers, including Aaliyah, died instantly from the impact. The crash was so violent that the plane's wings shattered and the engine and landing gear were torn off. Aaliyah's bodyguard Scott Galen initially survived the crash, but he died shortly after, and witnesses reported that in his final moments Galen was asking paramedics about Aaliyah's condition, but her dreams were taken away on board the doomed Cessna. Aaliyah and 8 others, including a representative for Virgin Records and a makeup artist. Investigators say one of the engines apparently failed. They crashed just short. Now let's talk about Jay-Z's alleged involvement in all this and his close friendship with Aaliyah's rapist R. Kelly. Aaliyah was just 12 years old when her uncle Barry Henderson brought her to R. Kelly's studio to audition for him, and sadly not long after that Aaliyah fell victim to R. Kelly's sick, twisted ways. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing 'cause she was glowing. I knew she had it soon as she started singing that verified it. And from there we became here and everything is all good. R. Kelly reportedly started graping Aaliyah when she was just 13 or 14, and he illegally married her when she was 15 with falsified documents. And who was right there next to R. Kelly when this was going on? None other than his BFF at the time, Jay-Z. Jay-Z was one of the many creepy industry men circling around Aaliyah when she was entirely too young, and to make a bad situation worse, even after Jay-Z found out what that sick old R. Kelly did to Aaliyah, he refused to cut ties with him. In fact, the same year IA died, Jay started working on his joint album with Kelly, The Best of Both Worlds. But that's not all. According to Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z wasn't just casually interested in Aaliyah, he was actually obsessed with her and even manipulated her into getting involved with him. But Aaliyah wasn't into the idea of being just another trophy for Jay-Z to show off on magazine covers. Instead, she preferred hanging out with Dame Dash, and their friendship eventually became romantic, and Jaguar claimed that Jay-Z couldn't handle the situation and became extremely jealous, so he allegedly enlisted Hype Williams and his friend Diddy to help him get rid of Aaliyah, saying, "I wish that situation would be investigated further." No, to be investigated, period. It was never investigated. Hype was never questioned. Lenny Kravitz made a statement and it was never publicized. She was unconscious. She didn't choose to get on that plan. There were phone calls made. There are witnesses who signed NAS. Why would you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement about a plane crash, and what happened leading up to? Please someone answer that. A plane crash should be accidental. Should be. Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement? If there wasn't foul play, there were over 25 non-disclosure agreements cashed out regarding the death of that beautiful girl and every other human being that died on that plane with her and Diddy and Jay-Z. And now another wild conspiracy theory is making rounds on social media, suggesting that Beyoncé allegedly knew about Aaliyah being taken out of the picture so she could replace her in the music industry and in Jay-Z's life. So Destiny's Child attended the Soul Train Lady of Soul Awards on August 28, 2001, just 3 days after Aaliyah's death, and some fans are already saying that the way Beyoncé looked when asked about Aaliyah seemed like she wasn't sad about it at all. She was our age, and it's just scary because that could have been any one of us, and she was an angel. And I know that now she's with God now. Beyoncé didn't really say anything shocking, but if you look at the comment on the video, a lot of fans seem to feel like she wasn't being sincere. They noticed her eyes darting around and that she seemed to be smirking when talking about Aaliyah's death. Sure, is possible that fans are overthinking it, but there's also this strange video from 2009 where some people think Beyoncé hints at Aaliyah's plane crash during a performance of Diva.